It seems like Jake Paul had a pretty good year in 2024, so why is he heading into 2025 so thirsty? Well, let's take a look at Jake Paul's wild year and see what you can learn from it as an entrepreneur or a business owner. Now, it's undeniable that Jake Paul ended 2024 on a high note with his boxing match against Mike Tyson, gathering over 105 million live viewers for Netflix. It was the biggest live sports event of the year, and it even beat out Beyonce's Christmas halftime show, which is another must-see event of the year for sports. He's also making waves with his boxing branding company, Most Valuable Promotions, his venture capital firm, and his mobile sports betting app, Better. In fact, it's going so well for him that Forbes ranked him number 13 in the list of top creators, listing his earnings for the year at almost $14 million. It all seems pretty impressive so far, right? But here's the thing. 1 year earlier, Forbes ranked Jake as the number 3 spot in the top creator, with earnings topping out at $34 million. That year, he beat his brother Logan Paul by 3 spots. He was also in the top creators list at number 6, but in 2024, Logan moved ahead of Jake, landing the number 12 spot above his brother. And here's the even crazier part. Logan had a more successful year than his brother Jake, even though the sales of Logan's energy drink brand Prime dropped to almost half of what it was the previous year. And that's not a typo. In 2023, Prime sold over $150 million worth of their drinks. But in 2024, that number dropped to just under $80 million. That's a decline of 48%, which is massive. And yet, Logan still ended up higher on the list than Jake did. And overall, both of them made less than they did the year before. So what's going on here? Is something happening with the Paul boys? I have a theory, and it involves both of the Paul brothers, and it's something important to remember if you're an entrepreneur or a business owner trying to grow your business to get more profits. Let's dive in. Let's start with Prime, because this is a perfect example of my theory. What caused such a huge drop-off in sales for that product? It probably wasn't the call from the politicians for the FDA to investigate the product, which happened in 2023. One theory put forth is that people stopped buying it because they learned about all the harmful additives and chemicals that were in the drinks. Another theory is that people just got used to it or bored with it and they moved on to the next big thing. Those are both interesting theories, but there's just one problem with them. What about the hugely successful other drinks like Monster and Red Bull? Both of those drink brands are many years older than Prime, and they definitely have some of the same weird artificial ingredients that Prime has. So have their sales numbers dropped too? Absolutely not. Monster actually grew their sales by $130 million, while Red Bull's sales increased by $105 million the same year. So both of these companies increased their profits by more than Prime lost in the same year. The numbers don't lie. It's not an issue with the ingredients, and it's not that people got used to it. And it's not a general sales drop in energy drinks overall. So what is it? Well, I have a theory, and it's one that has affected other companies many times. It's because there's a face to blame. Right now, if I asked you who the face of Monster or Red Bull energy drinks is, who would you say? You probably couldn't think of one. Sure, there's athletes that are sponsored by them, but none of them are as synonymous with the brand as Logan Paul is to Prime. Logan Paul is the face of the product, and it's a face that brings a lot of controversy. That makes for a lot of free publicity, but it can also bring scrutiny, dislike, and a focus for people's targeting. Think about it this way. If Monster Energy puts chemicals in their drink, the public thinks that it's just some big faceless corporation grabbing more money. But when Prime does it, there's a face at the top, Logan's face. And so he becomes the person who made the terrible decision to add all those chemicals. Influencers like Jake and Logan Paul are part of a new phenomenon in the business world, people who gain fame from their social media personalities and then translated that into business success. But the dangers of having individuals that are synonymous with a product has been a problem for much longer than the Paul brothers have been around. Do you remember which celebrity was the spokesperson for Jell-O for over 30 years? The longest running relationship between a product and a celebrity in history? It was Bill Cosby. He was working on different products with Jell-O until at least 2010. And do you remember what happened in 2014? A comedian talked about some sexual assault accusations against Bill Cosby, and it started a huge conversation. That conversation coincided with the Me Too movement. And a couple years later, Cosby was on trial, and in 2018, he actually went to jail. Jell-O dodged a huge bullet because by then, Cosby wasn't actively doing any marketing for them. But do you know which company wasn't as lucky? Subway. The sandwich shop created their own sort of celebrity spokesperson with Jared Fogle, the man who lost 100 pounds of weight by going on the Subway sandwich diet. He was in commercials and on store products for years. And then Jared Fogle was arrested for the kind of inappropriate pictures and activities that I can't even mention in this video without YouTube flagging me. He was arrested and eventually sent to prison, and that happened while he was Subway's spokesperson. Literally, the day the FBI raided his home and confiscated his computers, there were Subway ads on TV with him in it. The effect on Subway sales was noticeable, with a 4% drop in sales the year that this happened. But the bigger impact was with the brand's trustworthiness. Subway was now associated with a face that people didn't trust, and that's hard to recover from. And that brings us back to Jake and Logan Paul. Unlike Jared Fogle, they haven't been found guilty of any serious crimes, but they have spent a lot of their time and grown their brands by being controversial and often unlikable. These aren't my personal feelings. These are documented facts. Both of them have lost sponsorships and money because of their public personas and their behavior. Do you remember when Logan shot a vlog in a Japanese forest that was notorious as a place where people went to end their lives? And he shot footage of the body of a man who had done that very recently. That was a huge controversy and backlash, one that lost him a Google preferred advertising tier with YouTube. He apologized and promised to donate $1 million to charity causes. By the way, there's really no evidence that he actually donated that entire amount. But you would think that he had learned his lesson about not biting the hand that feeds him, right? Well, you'd think so, but then he decided to make the infamous video where he used a taser on the bodies of some dead animals. He got an almost immediate ad ban from YouTube and was unable to make any money from his videos. Lucky for him, the ban was temporary and he eventually got his monetization back. And what about Jake Paul? Aside from faking 2 marriages in order to cash in on some lucrative promotional deals, he also got fired from Disney. After his popularity grew on Vine, Disney hired him to be an actor and a prank maker on a TV show called Bizaardvark. He barely lasted a season. His behavior and antics, including leaking his own home address so fans swarmed his neighborhood and made life a living hell for his neighbors, is what caused Disney to fire him mid-season. That's when he moved on to YouTube. Did he end up becoming very famous on YouTube? Sure, he did. But does that mean it was a smart business decision to burn a bridge with Disney like that? I don't know. Maybe ask Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake, Zendaya, Miley Cyrus, and Selena Gomez, who all turned their Disney career into huge stardom and lots of financial and business success. Here's what it all boils down to. Jake and Logan Paul built their businesses off their notoriety, and sometimes their notoriousness. That can make things very volatile for a business. Outrage and clickbait culture can definitely get attention in the short term, but does it have legs in the long term? Not according to the sales of Prime. And Jake Paul may be facing a crossroads once again in the aftermath of the Mike Tyson fight. The event was hyped a lot, but the actual fight itself was pretty underwhelming by most measures, and he may have accidentally backed himself into a corner. His first heavyweight fight was against the greatest boxer of the modern era, but when he was long past his prime. He picked a fight with an aging legend, and he won in a way that wasn't very compelling. What does that leave for the future? Are there other boxers more famous than Mike Tyson? Are there bigger gimmicks he can find in the world of boxing? That's the lesson to take away here. When you have a brand, sometimes it's great to have a recognizable face connected to the brand. But when the face and the brand become so close that they're interchangeable, then the brand can suffer because of the acts of the face. In the case of Logan and Jake Paul, the personalities drive the publicity and the attention, and sometimes that negative attention has unintended side effects. So when you're growing your business or your presence as an entrepreneur, just be careful about the face that you choose to put on your business. And if you do choose to make yourself the public face, remember what happened with Disney, Prime, YouTube, and Mike Tyson, and make your public appearances and decisions carefully. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.